Establishment of a balanced diet. Replacing fast carbohydrates, sugars, and flour products with complex carbohydrates ensures a steady release of energy. Adopting a fractional eating schedule of small meals 5 to 6 times a day prevents both hunger pangs and the fatigue associated with overeating. Maintenance of proper hydration. Consuming at least 2 liters of water daily is essential, as even minor dehydration leads to reduced cognitive function and increased tiredness. Setting reminders can help ensure consistent fluid intake throughout the day. Regulation of sleep hygiene. Adhering to a strict schedule of going to bed and waking up at the same time guarantees restorative sleep. The sleeping environment should be cool, 18 to 20 degrees, dark and quiet, with gadgets and heavy meals avoided 2 hours before rest. Integration of moderate physical activity. Regular movement improves blood circulation and tissue nutrition, preventing metabolic slowdowns. However, training should not occur immediately after eating or when feeling unwell, and outdoor activities are preferable for oxygenation. Active management of stress. Identifying stress triggers through journaling and eliminating avoidable irritants helps preserve mental energy. For unavoidable stressors, techniques such as meditation, yoga, or changing one's psychological reaction are recommended to mitigate impact. Engagement in stimulating hobbies. Pursuing interesting activities or passions prevents boredom-induced fatigue. Avoiding idleness and remaining active signals the body to generate more energy, whereas succumbing to laziness leads to a lower energy state. Application of quick recovery methods. Short breaks for physical stretching, eye exercises, or stimulating biological points on the ears can restore focus. Additionally, frequently ventilating the room and switching between different types of tasks helps refresh the brain. Psychological acceptance of rest. Prioritizing tasks and declining unnecessary obligations prevents burnout. It is important to acknowledge fatigue without guilt, allowing for genuine breaks or temporary withdrawal from routine to recover fully. Professional medical consultation. Visiting a therapist is advisable to rule out underlying physiological causes or vitamin deficiencies. A comprehensive examination ensures that any necessary treatment or supplementation is correctly prescribed. Targeted supplementation with olive leaf extract. For chronic fatigue syndrome potentially linked to the reactivation of the Epstein-Barr virus due to stress, olive leaf extract, specifically oleuropein, acts as a potent antiviral and cortisol balancer. This remedy is most effective when combined with lifestyle changes to reduce stress, but talk about this and consult with a medical professional. The exhausted hero of our story sat in a chair, feeling like a drained battery that had been plugged into a potato instead of a power outlet. The body was sending desperate signals that life was being lived incorrectly, but the hero initially chose to ignore them, hoping the situation would magically resolve itself. It did not. The signals merely became more dangerous, and the constant fatigue began to feel like a heavy, wet blanket. First, a revolution in the kitchen was required. The hero realized that empty calories, sugar, and fatty foods were causing sharp spikes in blood sugar, leading to metabolic chaos. Reluctantly, the sugary buns were banished, replaced by complex carbohydrates like porridge and vegetables that provided slow, steady energy. To avoid the hangry monster within, meals were split into 5 or 6 small portions a day, ensuring neither hunger nor gluttony took hold. Then came the hydration challenge. The brain, suffering from a lack of fluid, demanded at least 2 liters of water a day. Reminders were set on the phone, annoying but necessary, to prevent cognitive decline. Movement was the next hurdle. Without activity, the blood was moving through the veins like cold molasses, starving the brain of nutrients. The hero had to start moving. Brisk walks and morning exercises were introduced. However, strict rules applied. No training on an empty stomach, but also no jumping around immediately after eating. It was a delicate balance. Stress was identified as the silent killer. A stress diary was started, listing everything from annoying neighbors to scary news. Factors that could be eliminated were tossed aside. Inevitable stressors, like work deadlines, were met with yoga, meditation, and a new attitude. Since cortisol paralyzes the immune system, staying calm was now a survival tactic. Nighttime became a sacred ritual. To fix the broken sleep cycle, the hero turned the bedroom into a minimalist cave, pitch black, silent, and chilled to a strict 18 to 20 degrees. The phone was confiscated 2 hours before bed, and thoughts of failure were replaced by a warm bath with sea salt. Yet, despite all the kale and jogging, a lingering sluggishness remained. It turned out there was a deeper, microscopic villain at play. The hero learned that chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia often stem from a latent Epstein-Barr virus, rudely reawakened by stress and high cortisol. The secret weapon against this viral insurgency was found in nature: olive leaf extract. Specifically, a bitter phytonutrient called oleuropein. It promised to fight the virus, lower blood pressure, and even protect against cancer, provided one could find a high-quality, unpasteurized version. There was also a suspicion that the pain on the right side of the body was the gallbladder crying for help, another puzzle piece to address. To combat the brain's tricky attempt to save energy by inducing laziness, which only led to depression, the hero forced himself to be active when feeling capable. He found a hobby to ignite passion, knowing that doing something boring makes one tired, while doing something loved gives one wings. For emergency energy boosts during the day, the protagonist resorted to bizarre-looking rituals, rubbing palms together until hot, massaging ears and cheeks, and drumming fingers on the top of the head. Colleagues watched with confusion as the hero rolled eyes in all directions to relieve optical strain. Dark chocolate, almonds, and the occasional extract of Eleutherococcus became the legal stimulants of choice. Finally, the hero accepted a hard truth: perfection is an illusion. Trying to do everything at once had led to burnout. The ultimate cure involved admitting defeat, taking a vacation, perhaps helping some elderly people to gain perspective, and simply smelling the lavender. By normalizing the diet, fighting the virus with olive leaves, and learning to rest without guilt, the hero finally stopped feeling like a sleepy fly and started living again.